Hi, my name is Ghazi Arif and today I will be showing you batik. So batik is most commonly found within the east coast of Malaysia such as Kelantan, Terengganu and Pahang, and also in Johor. Now, in Johor, batik is influenced by the Sumatra and the Javanese style, as a lot of Javanese and Sumatra people living in Johor.
The type of art from the batik is called as motifs. The most popular motifs are leaves and flowers. Batik in Malaysia never depicts humans or animals because Islamic norms forbid anthropomorphic and animal images as decorations. However, the butterfly theme is a common exception among all. Malaysian batik is also famous for its geometrical designs such as spirals. Malaysian batik pattern is also larger and simpler, and the colors are also tend to be lighter and more vibrant compared to the Javanese batik. There are three batik production techniques in Malaysia. The first technique is done by hand, which outlines the design beforehand using a canting. A canting is a metal pen tool filled with hot wax. Then, colors are painted on the cloth and the process of waxing, dyeing, and boiling will be followed until desired results are obtained. Depending on the intricacy on the pattern, the process can take up to weeks. The second technique is called block printing method, where wax will be applied directly onto the cloth using soldered tins or copper strips block done by the designs available to them. The block is placed into hot wax and hand stamped onto the fabric. After dyeing and removing the wax, we will be able to see the pattern of the batik. Lastly, the third technique is called silk screening. In this method, different screens are used according to the colors and patterns desired. Afterwards, wax will be applied directly onto the cloth using these screens.
What I will be showing you today is a mock-up of batik, which is completely different from the style that is supposed to be done, as batik requires hot wax. So instead, I will be using a watercolor and a brush and a paper to do my batik drawing.
Hi everyone, this is Aida. Nice to meet you. Today I'll be sharing with you guys about wayang kulit. So what is wayang kulit? Wayang kulit is a performance that based on the principle of shadow and light and a puppet in front of them actually being reflected on a white screen, right? So if you don't know about it, you can go on Google or based on this picture that you guys are seeing right now. So this is wayang kulit, where there's a light and then there's a shadow of the puppet being shown on the screen. So this is what the olden day people, or like in our parents' generation, where they watch cinema. Wayang kulit is actually the old cinema, because now we have a very comfortable place to actually sit and maybe have food while we are watching the stories that is being shown in cinema. But in the olden day, the way that they entertain themselves is actually through this wayang kulit. And a large crowds sometimes gather around to actually watch this wayang kulit because it is a very, very rare performance in the olden days. So through history, it's been said that there's 4 types of puppet show or wayang kulit in Malaysia, and that is wayang kulit Kelantan, Melayu, Gede, and Puro. But the one that is very, very famous in Malaysia and very well known, that it is become from the wayang kulit Kelantan. So from Kelantan, we actually say that it is from Kelantan. And what makes this 4 puppet show different from each other is definitely the type of character, the music style, the story, and of course the puppet itself is very, very different. So that's what makes it different. And in order to do the very important part in wayang kulit is definitely the puppet itself, because the puppet represents the story that is wanted to be told by the person, that we call it as dalang. So the dalang will be the one that is responsible in making the puppet from the very first till the very end. And the process of making it is very, very it's not that difficult, but it's time consuming, because the first thing is that you use a skin cow or a sheep. You have to make it dry first, and then you have to clean it, and after that you need to craft the character on it, and then you cut it out, and then you dye it before you actually attach it to a rope or something to actually move the puppet. Alright, so this is the example that I did. It's like the modern version of wayang kulit puppet, because I can't do the traditional one. It's quite hard for me to actually do that. It's very, very time consuming, and I'm not really good at drawing. So this is the one that I did. Alright. Alright, and also the best thing about watching wayang kulit is that they come with a music like gamelan or something, like this kind of music that you're hearing right now. Do you can hear it? Yeah. So that is wayang kulit is all about. So let us watch a modern version of wayang kulit that was presented by Mimi. So let's go and watch it.
Ha, Upin, Ipin, Fizi, mari sini. Mari sini. Hari ni atuk nak kita berlakon cerita bujang laput. Nak tak? Nak cuba? Bagus. Pergi duduk sana dulu. Dengar apa yang atuk cakap ni. Okey? Okey tak? Okey, makcik. Oh, bagus. Okey, dengar Hai mambang tanah, mambang api, mambang air, mambang angin, mambang berasal dari gunung si mambang. Skrip dia tak susah kan? Fizi, cuba kau buat dulu. Malulah pakcik. Takut saya cuba saya cuba. Dengar ya. Hai mambang tanah. Hai mambang tanah, mambang pokok, mambang daun, mambang buah, mambang panjang, mambang pendek, mambang bujur, mambang melintang, mambang gembur, mambang kurus, mambang tua, mambang... Oi bodoh! Mana ada mambang tua? Mana ada mambang bujur? Kau merepek apa ni, Fizi? Bodoh betul kau ni. Tepi. Skrip simple pun boleh salah. Biar aku pula yang cuba. Dengar Atuk. Dengar. Okey, dengar saya nak baca. Hai mambang. Hai mambang kuning, mambang merah, mambang putih, mambang biru, mambang coklat, mambang hitam, mambang biruan laut. Upin! Aduh, apa yang kau merepekkan ni, Upin? Ipin, kan atuk dah cakap mambang lain. Kau cakap mambang biruan laut, kenapa pula? Ish, kau ni. Tepi. Buat sakit jantung aku je. Upin, cuba kau pula yang buat. Mari sini. Cuba kau pula cakap. Okey atuk, saya cuba Saya cuba. Cuba. Cuba cakap. Hai mambang tanah, mambang api, mambang air, mambang angin, mambang tanah, mambang mabuk, minum brandy. Oi! Upin. Mana ada mambang mabuk minum brandy? Yalah tu, skrip pun. Dia berlakon je kan? Kau ni menjawab pula. Adalah, pergilah main sana. Tak jadilah kita buat. Pergi main sana. Okey Atuk, pergi dulu Atuk. Assalamualaikum. Buat sakit jantung aku je. Dah lah. Balik rumah lah macam ni. Bye-bye.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day to our lecturer, Madam Nilofa and fellow classmates. I am Ahmad Azim and today I will be talking about the songkok. The songkok is made from materials such as cotton, felt or velvet and is usually black in color. The reason people like the black color of the songkok is because it symbolizes neatness and elegance. Originally, the songkok was said to be based off the fez or tarbush, which was adopted by the Ottomans of Turkey in 1826, which was then spread across South Asia and the Malaysian archipelago, which is now known as Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. From there, the fez in Malaysia gradually changed by design and it now takes the shape of the songkok we all know and love today. In these modern times, the songkok can be called as a cap or head accessory that is usually worn by Malay men to complete their outfit, which is called a baju Melayu. The baju Melayu consists of the men wearing a top with matching colored pants, a songkok on their heads and with a samping wrapped around their waists. It is usually worn during formal occasions such as weddings or funerals and also festive occasions like Hari Raya Aidilfitri. The Royal Malay Regiment of the Malaysian Army have been using the songkok as part of their uniform since under the rule of the British in Malaysia. In the context of royalty in Malaysia, whenever a member of any state's royal family passes away, there will be a state of mourning called berkabung. On the day of the funeral itself, all the Malay Muslim men attending the funeral are required to be in full baju Melayu with their songkoks covered in white cloth around here. The reason the white cloth needs to be covered on the songkok is because it symbolizes that the people are mourning. Back then, the songkok was made by hand and was considered an art or craft that needed a good degree of skill or handiwork in order to make it successfully and beautifully. However, in these modern times, most people just make songkoks using machines and most people call the songkok making by hand a dying industry. However, even with it being made by machines, it is still considered an art or craft that is still relevant anywhere in Malaysia. I will now show what the songkok looks like with a full baju Melayu. That is all from me. Thank you and have a nice day.
Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is Nadia binti Sarihudin. I'll be presenting to you about one of the traditional Malay poetry, pantun. Laksa sedap milik Cik Lisa. Katanya ada ramuan rahsia. Datang ke negara pelbagai bangsa. Ketahuilah kau di Malaysia. That is a pantun that I made myself. Pantun is one of the traditional poetry that is famous among spoken language and composed by people in archipelago region in Southeast Asia, especially Malay language. The shortest pantun is a two-line verse with fixed rhythm and have the same pronunciation in the end. However, pantun also can be written in 4, 6, or 8 lines. Very rarely the poetry will exceed the 8 line, and the usual number of lines is 4. In its most basic form, the pantun consists of a quatrain which employs an ABAB rhyme scheme. A pantun is traditionally recited according to a fixed rhythm, and as a rule of thumb, in order not to deviate from the rhythm, every line should contain between 8 and 12 syllables. Pantun is divided in 2 parts with the same amount of verse, which is the hint part or pembayang in Malay and followed by the meaning part. For 4-line verse, it consists of 2 lines hint part and 2 lines meaning part, whereas 8-line, it consists of 4 lines of hint part and 4 lines of meaning part. The hint part sometimes appear completely disconnected in meaning from the meaning part, but there is almost invariably a link of some sort. The pantun is highly symbolical or figurative, and in order to understand it, readers generally need to know the traditional meaning of the symbols the poem employs. This poetry has several types depending on the contents of the poem. There are pantun agama, pantun budi, pantun jenaka, pantun percintaan, and pantun perpisahan. Respectively, its religion, courtesy, jokes, love, and farewell. Fun fact, in Malay custom, pantun was traditionally recited during an event such as proposal from the groom's family. In this event, where a man comes to his beloved woman's home with his family, intended to know if the woman already has someone or not. The man's family would state their intention in pantun, and the woman's family would reply in the same manner. Interestingly, usually the pantun was recited on the fly, meaning they spontaneously made it up. This situation is where the pantun can be sold and bought, or in Malay, berjual beli. It is where one would use pantun to ask something and the other would reply in pantun too. I took one in pantun jenaka or jokes pantun as the example. Like A is saying, ikan beranak, hile berenang, burung leruak menata sarang, makan tak enak, tidur tak tenang, konon teringat tinggal seorang. The overall meaning in the jual pantun is A is saying that everything they do, they don't feel right or feeling distracted. It's all because A's mind was always on B. Then B replied, kumbang menyumbang bunga berseri, bunga di taman puteri raja. Entahkan benar demikian peri, atau sekadar cakap sahaja. The overall meaning in the Bali pantun is B saying they don't believe what A said.
How to create your own pantun? For me, it is easier to do the meaning part first. Then I would look at the last word in the sentence to similarize the same syllables in the last word of the hint part. I would brainstorm as many words as I can find for the same syllables. Then I would find the idea to build up the sentence by using the word. Sometimes I would get the idea to build up from the first word of the sentence, like laksa in this case.
Alright, that's all from me. I leave you with the pantun I made up myself. Anak Cik Siti mencari tuba. Tuba dicari di waktu pagi. Masa kita sudah pun tiba. Harap kita bertemu lagi. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good day to Madani Lofa and my fellow classmates. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Muhammad Yazid. So today I'll be presenting about tikar mengkuang known as weaving mat. Where tikar mengkuang is a traditional craft that related to Malay community which all the generation like our grandparents used before. So usually this tikar mengkuang are used by local farmer where they use it place for them to sit, to dry their paddy, to cover the wall and others. So I'll be telling you about the process of making tikar mengkuang. For process is that first you need to dry the mengkuang leaf by using the fire until it wilted, or just place it under hot sun. It is because they want to eliminate the cell of the leaf and also the water inside the leaf. After drying it, they will need to remove all the thorn. Then they need to cut the leaf according to the size that they want. After cutting it, they need to soak it for 2 to 3 days, then dry it again. Then they will dip it in a color solution, which is the famous one is red, yellow and green. After that, they need to choose what type of weave that they want, like the corak tapak catur, corak mata bilis, corak beras patah and so on. After that, they need to choose they want to start from the middle or from the side. So here is the model that I already made by using paper, where I will show a demonstration after this. So let's get on with the video. So for this demonstration, I'll be using 2 pieces of paper, which is green color and yellow color, glue, and pencil, scissors, and also I will make a guideline, which is a square for the first step. So yeah, here we go. Yeah, so after you cut it in the middle, so basically it will be like this. Yeah, okay. Next is we go take it another paper. So for this one, it's the same. For the mine part, I'll be using the size of the ruler. So maybe half, yeah, half. So here we go. So after finish doing a line like this, you take the scissor, you cut it off. We're going to use all this one and insert it to this one, okay? Let's go. So yeah, it will be like this. So when you turn it around, it will be looking like this. And last but not least, for each of the side, you take the glue. So this is all done. This is on the back, and this is the front. Yeah. This is how you tikar mengkuang.
And hi, my name is Iman Shabila binti Nur Azman, and my ID number is 1191302547. Today, I would like to talk about henna and demonstrate how henna work. What is henna? Henna has been practiced for over 5,000 years in Pakistan, India, Africa, and Middle East. Henna is the common name for the plant Lawsonia inermis and has been used as a natural dye for throughout history in many cultures. The henna paste is derived from the leaf of the plant, which is ground to a fine powder and mixed with the various liquid to achieve the desired consistency. Henna has been used for centuries to dye skin, hair, and fingernails, as well as fabric including leather, wool, and silk. Henna, known by many names such as henna, hina, mehendi, mehandi, mendi, and mhendi. In Malaysia, the most popular of the traditions is Berenai ceremony, where the bride, her family, relatives, and friends get together to celebrate the wedding to come. This night is filled with games, music, and dance performance that may have been practiced for months prior to the event by those closest to the bride. During this, the bride gets extensive henna patterns done on her hands. Let me show you how hennas work.
Kaki kat ni.
My name is Chia Junwei. I will continue to explain paper cutting. Paper cutting was and is mostly used as a decoration or an aesthetic way to express people's hopes, gratitude, and other emotions. With a pair of scissors cutting through a piece of red paper, the paper cuttings are endowed with simple but exaggerated beauty. The vividly depicted paper cuttings have different meanings. Some express the wish for harvest or a wealthy life. Some depict animals and plants. Some illustrate legendary figures or scenes from traditional myths or stories, and others show people's gratitude towards life. Moreover, window paper cuts have a close relationship with spring begins, as it has been a way to welcome spring since ancient times in China. In many areas in China, especially in the north, when spring comes, people like to paste window paper cuts on the window to express their happiness. Since the Song and Yuan dynasty, people changed the time to the Spring Festival in order to welcome the Chinese New Year. Through pasting window paper cuts, people decorate their homes to show their joy, happiness, and good intentions. Hence, I will now demonstrate how to cut a window paper cut.
my name is Tong Yifang. Today, I will demonstrate a traditional Chinese art and craft which is called Bro Plum Blossom painting. Before I start my demonstration, I will first explain the brief introduction of Bro Plum Blossom painting. Bro Plum Blossom painting comes from a special Chinese culture, ink blowing painting. Ink blowing painting is a Chinese way to paint, which is simply put some black ink on the black paper and start to blow it. Ink blowing was first introduced by Zhu Mohin. In Chinese culture, there are 4 types of plants will normally be painted, which are plum, orchid, bamboo, and chrysanthemum. This is because these 4 types of plant can be called as the man of noble character in China, as each of them represent different noble character. Today, we will be using the plum as the character to be painted, and plum is the representative of unsullied and aspiring people. The plum has been frequently depicted in Chinese painting and pottery for centuries, as the Chinese see its blossom as both a symbol of winter as well as a harbinger of spring. In Malaysia, some primary or secondary schools will let their children try to make low plum blossom painting during the school's Chinese New Year activities in order to promote the Chinese culture. Now, I will start to move into the demonstration of low plum blossom painting. The things need to be prepared included black ink, yellow paint or any other color paint, straw, and red paper.
First, use the straw to take out the black ink and put on the paper. Then, we need to immediately start to blow the ink using the straw and blow until the desired shape that you want. After done to blow to the desired shape of the plum blossom, you can use the yellow paint or any other color paint start to decorate by point on it.
My name is Chu Jiaxuan. Today, I will demonstrate one of the Chinese traditional art or craft which is called Chinese knot. What is a Chinese knot? A Chinese knot is a knot that is tied and woven from a single length of cord or rope to be a variety of shape and of varying complexity. Each shape has its own symbolic meaning, and nowadays you can find them as decoration, gift for special occasion, and adornment on clothes. Most knots are double layered and symmetrical and have 2 cords entering the knot from the top and 2 leaving from the bottom. Each kind of knot is named after its shape or the symbolic meaning that it carries. Knot wave can use a variety of color, but they usually weave deep red one. The color red signifies good fortunes. So now I will demonstrate the first knot, which is button knot. The button knot was originally used on traditional Chinese clothing in place of button, but it is also considered decorative and can be found in everything from jewelry to wall hangings. The button knot's pattern is seemingly endless. In Buddhism, the never-ending knot is a symbol of the natural cycle of the universe and the cycle of life. The second knot that I will demonstrate, which is double coin knot. The double coin knots get its name because it is intended to look like two Chinese coins, one on top of the other. The knot symbolizes wealth and prosperity, particularly for merchants who often deal in coins. However, that is not the only meaning. This knot has also come to symbolize long life. Use it in jewelry when you want to wish the wearer a long, financial, successful life.
Hi, my name is Karina. Today I will demonstrate one of Chinese traditional art and craft, which is paper cutting.
Chinese paper cuttings is mainly used in regional rituals, decoration and stylings. Now paper cuttings are mainly used as decorations and they are usually made with red paper, which is the most popular and propitious color in Chinese culture. They use it to liven up walls, windows, doors, mirrors in homes. Paper cuttings are popular because they express wish and hope. Wishes for wealth, health, and longevity are conveyed through paper cutting. For example, during a wedding ceremony, a red paper cutting with the character C double happiness is a traditional and essential decoration, while partners of doors, crowns, or lotus symbols wish for children. Now I will do a demonstration on how to cut the character C double happiness, which can often be seen during wedding ceremony.
Gayatri Meganathan. In this video, I am going to briefly explain about the history of the column and demonstrate some simple design of the column. Okay, what is column? Column, which means a beauty, is a floor drawing made from rice flour and used for the ornament and ceremonial design during Indian traditional festivals. The traditional painting of column is believed to have originated about 5,000 years ago during the pre-Aryan period. The column is a two function. The first one is religion and the second one is ornament. The traditionally various motifs were drawn on the floor to feed insects with the design made of edible grains. The act of charity is encouraged in Hindu scripture. The column is drawn to welcome Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. In Indian culture, there are special type of column which known as the sickle column. When the ladies practice more with the sickle column, it can be said that the ladies will be more capable of solving any problem that comes in life. She also believe drawing column every day on the floor is considered to be one of the most important exercise for the ladies. It ensures a lot of sitting, standing, moving, and in patterns while drawing column is a good exercise by sitting, standing. While making column, a lot of ozone and oxygen-rich atmosphere is healthy if done outside the house in the early of the morning. They also believe when ladies bend their body to draw a column, its backbone is The backbone is also bent in such way to strengthen the backbone, help keeping it healthy and fit. It's believed to be one of the organs. To get know about a lot of benefit from this drawing column, I also did some simple design of column. Let's see.
Traditional festival by Hindus, and Hindu gods are decorated with the garlands made from different fragrant flower like jasmine. And the last one would be the use of flower garlands. The first use would be in Indian marriage ceremony. The bride and the groom will usually wear it on their neck, which is called as Malay in Indian terms, till the end of their wedding. And the next would be flower garlands called as gajra, which is like a flower but it's a small version where women put it on their head during traditional festivals of Indian ceremonies. And then the last one would be flower garlands that is decorated for door frame, because when the Indians moving to a new house or a new shop or they are opening up something new, they put it on the door frame of the place, and that's all for the use of flower garlands. But there is also lots of other uses. Thank you so much, and that's all from me. Now I'm going to show how the demo for flower garland is done. That first two was shown to me as an example because I'm new to this, and now I'll start continuing to do my first two flowers, which is I have to take a thread, and flowers is the main important thing for this, and then I have to take two flowers separately, and then I have to put it together like this. Yes, like that, very closely, and then I have to take the thread and then turn it one time, and then I have to do a knot like this, and then I have to pull it, so that's how the flower stays. Yes, so I'll continue doing a few more, and then I'll show the end result later on. This is how they continuously do it.